NFL player props here on PrizePicks for Saturday, December 17th. Before I get started, there's a link in the description below to sign up for PrizePicks, or you can use promo code TUFF to sign up. PrizePicks will match 100% of your first deposit. There is also a Discord link in the description below of this video where the main server is currently completely free. We do also have a Patreon link in the description where I do post all the plays here that I'm making on PrizePicks for each given sport that I do play. Also, do need to mention I'm not a gambling expert. It's not financial advice, simply just the plays I'm personally looking at making. Hopefully giving you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. But let's get into it, you guys. We're looking at the Saturday slate here. Again, we're getting to that time of year where we do have Saturday football here in the NFL. No more buys for these NFL teams, so there's going to be games on Saturday. But looking at this slate here, we got the Colts-Vikings, which should be a pretty fun matchup here. Over-under is set at 48.5, with Minnesota being 4-point home favorites. We got the Ravens versus the Browns here at a 38.5 over-under. No Lamar Jackson in this game. I don't know if Tyler Huntley's even going to play. But there is supposed to be some pretty bad weather here. 15-mile-per-hour winds, I believe, in this game. And we got the Dolphins-Bills in Buffalo. A rematch of that exciting matchup we saw earlier in the season where like both quarterbacks threw for 400 yards. But there is supposed to be some weather. 36 with some possible snow in this forecast as well. So again, keep that in mind here. But 3 games here on this slate. I'm going to looking at 2 props here that I do like. Again, I'm not a gambling expert, not financial advice. Let's get into it. So the first one I like here is going to be Jonathan Taylor. I like his over 17.5 receiving yards against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, just taking a look at his last 5, he's only hit this once over his last 5. Coming off a game last week where he had, or I guess the week before last, they had a bye, but had 21 receiving yards against the Dallas Cowboys here. But I like this for a few reasons. One, just on the season, he's hit this 3 times. All these games he's hit have been with Matt Ryan. Has been seeing decent target share over the last 3 weeks. 4 targets, and 4 targets here. 8 targets down here against Tennessee, which is a strong sign in my opinion to just see targets from these running backs. And any running back receiving yards prop does have some risk to it. But running backs this year have had some success out the backfield against the Vikings. We saw Tony Pollard have 109 receiving yards, Stevenson 176, Ty Johnson 38, Zonovan Knight 28, Benjamin 23, Malik Davis 22, DeAndre Swift 18. And I think it's for good reason. So the Vikings against running backs, this is for the full season, 5th most receptions, 4th most receiving yards, 7th most targets, the 3rd most yards per throw at 6.41, and the 6th most yards per, or 6th most highest catch percentage to running back. So it is a good matchup. I think the Vikings have a really strong run defense as well, so I don't know how often they're going to be trying to really push the ball down the field with Jonathan Taylor running the ball at 3.79 yards per carry. The Vikings give up 2 running backs, so very stout rush defense, and the Vikings pass defense as a whole is very, very porous. So I'm expecting at least 3 to 4 targets here for Jonathan Taylor, and hopefully he can catch some of those screens and get that extra yardage here. Great matchup. I think the Vikings being favorites here in this game, 4-point favorites at home, indoors too, so no weather. But I just think that the Colts are going to have to throw the ball. Vikings good run defense, and the Vikings are going to be able to score the football on the Colts, in my opinion. So definitely going to have to throw the ball in this game here. And I'm taking Jonathan Taylor over 17.5 receiving yards as the first play here for this Saturday slate. Is going to be a rush yards prop, and we're going to look at Devin Singletary under 41.5 rush yards here against the Miami Dolphins. Now, prior to this last week's game, he had some decent success here running the ball, 47, 86, 72, and 51 yards as far as rush yards go. But last week against the Jets, which, again, not a horrible matchup for him, he had 8 carries for 39 yards, averaged 4.9 yards per carry, but only 8 carries in that game. Kind of a weird game overall. The Jets' pass defense is extremely elite. Rush defense, not as great, but only 8 carries. And if we take a look at the snap count, he's definitely in a timeshare now with James Cook. 49 snaps to 41 snaps. Even Nyheim Hines got 17 snaps. Take a look at these last 2 weeks. It's been definitely kind of a timeshare in that Bills backfield. They made the trade for Nyheim Hines at the trade deadline. They also have been giving James Cook significantly more touches in this last couple of weeks. But Devin Singletary, if we take a look at this, he's played Miami earlier this season and had his worst game of the year against Miami. At Miami, 9 carries for 13 yards, 1.4 yards per carry. On the season, the Dolphins giving up the 3rd lowest yards per carry to running backs, 3.73 yards per carry, right? 3rd lowest, tied for 3rd with the Ravens. only 3.73 yards per carry, and just on the season giving up the fourth fewest rush yards to running backs, the fourth fewest in the NFL overall rush yards to running backs. Again, the weather is going to impact this game a little bit, but I do expect this game to be somewhat of a shootout. Obviously, both these offenses are pretty potent, and both these offenses do love to run the ball. Obviously, Josh Allen can run the ball as well, which takes carries away from Devin Singletary, along with James Cook and Nyheim Hines. Just on the season, the Dolphins really haven't even allowed a 70-yard rusher all season. Christian McCaffrey had 17 carries for 66 yards. Took 17 carries to only get 66 yards. I can't see Devin Singletary getting more than 10 carries in this game. Especially depending on the game script goes. I just really don't see him getting a ton of carries. We saw David Montgomery had 14 carries for 36. Josh Kelly 4 carries for 29. Even Khalil Herbert had 7 carries for only 23. So the yards per carry has been pretty tough here on the running backs facing the Dolphins this season. I do expect this to be kind of a throwing type of game, so I am going to go with Devin Singletary under 41.5 rush yards. So again, let me know in the comments below how you guys feel about these two props. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and as always, let's catch.